I was trying to fill a God-sized hole with things that are not God. I actually managed to get the awesome wife, the awesome house, the great job, good income, all those things I didn't have as a child, and then I still felt empty. I was born in Long Island, New York, grew up in an Italian family with my grandparents, my mom, my triplet sisters. My dad and mom split when I was 6, so we didn't really see him again until I was a teenager. About the time that I was 9, we all moved to Florida. My grandfather used to drive for a living. He stopped driving. My mom was on welfare. When we were moving down to Florida, we already didn't have any money. We only had enough money for the bus ride down, barely. And so we got to Jacksonville. And my grandmother had a silver dollar necklace, and she used that silver dollar necklace to buy us a hot dog. When I say us, it was all of us and my aunt. So it was all of my grandparents, all the 4 of us and my aunt. We all ate one hot dog. And that was how we started our life in Florida. We were pretty poor. We had to rely on various charitable giving to provide food a lot of times, electricity, things like that. I can remember many times in my bedroom just asking God, why do we have to go through this? Why are you doing this to us? That why became kind of my question. And it was a big question that I asked a lot until I stopped asking it. At some point, I decided I didn't really need God anymore. And I said, I don't really need you. I've got this. I can figure all this out by myself. You probably don't exist anyway.
We met on my 21st birthday. My cousin, he worked with my cousin at Pizza Hut. And he brought him to my birthday party, but he actually didn't speak to me. He just smiled. I grew up in church, and my father was very involved in church. My parents, I was always very involved in church from forever. I asked him to go, and he went with me.
When I think about the way I met Nikki and the way that Nikki helped introduce me to God, I think about the fact that at first she just simply introduced me to her church and to her God. And what I always have liked about Nikki is that she has such a simple faith that is the opposite of mine. It's not a questioning kind of faith. It's a very pure faith. And I saw that in her. And I was curious about it, but still incredibly skeptical. Sometimes we did argue about my lack of faith. It was never horrible. It was just, get it through your head already. This is going to happen. And I didn't believe that for a million years. Letting Jesus in was both a process and a moment. We started going to a church right before we left for South Carolina that's similar to Ashley Ridge in that very relational church where the pastor was just very approachable. I really started to think, wow, I might actually like some of this stuff. I can actually open my mind to some of this stuff. But still nowhere near anything until we came to South Carolina, visited a lot of churches, and then we came to Ashley Ridge. And there's something different about Ashley Ridge. They made it easy to see that it's all about loving God and loving one another and being better together. But then there was the moment I was having a lot of trouble at work, and I was very, very tired of doing everything myself. And that's when the key kind of unlocked for me, and it was a moment at night in bed in the middle of the night. I didn't used to sleep very well, and in the middle of the night I just said, okay, I'm done doing all this myself, and I'm going to give it over to you. And shortly thereafter, I met with Jen and I told her I was all in and I'll do whatever I need to, and I just began living my life as a Christian. You know, I knew of Jesus and I saw the crucifix with Jesus, but I didn't know the Jesus that I know today. I see God completely differently now, the actual opposite of the way I used to see God. That God is a source of strength and power and joy and happiness and just an unconditional love. Now I've filled a God-sized hole with God, and the thing about God is God overflows that hole, and He makes it so that you have to pour it out. You have no choice. Once you let it in, then you have to pour it out. If you're sitting in church like I used to, and you're sitting in the back, and you're thinking, why am I here? The music's pretty good, but I really don't get this. I don't get this God thing. I would say to you, I was once you. I once thought I could figure it all out for myself until I realized that I couldn't. Until I realized that I was trying to fill a God-sized hole with everything that wasn't God. And I would ask you to give it a chance. I would ask you to just let yourself be loved by these people around you. Let God in, a little at a time, if that's what it takes. That's what it took with me. And see what God can do.